I remember the one day I stood out here with an instructor friend of mine, and there was a kid that squirted him with a water bottle. And it kind of turned into this slow sort of water fight. We were squirting the bottle, she would squirt the bottle, then another kid wanted to join, so he squirted the bottle, then we were squirting the bottle. It eventually ended in this huge water balloon fight. I don't know where the water balloons even came from, but we were throwing them around at each other. The kitchen staff got involved, they were filling buckets and throwing water at each other. It was one of the weirdest experiences I've ever seen. We deviated so much from the program, but the kids had so much fun that it didn't matter. It was just one of those crazy experiences that you don't plan and just happens and turns out to be like the best moment of camp. And there's a lot of those.
It's an interesting question. Why do we run a gap year? It's evolved as well over the years. We've always, as Spirit of Adventure as a company, we've always worked with, let's call it volunteers, and preferably kids who came straight out of school to work for us, and normally for a year. Reasons for that is a young person is young and enthusiastic, and they've got lots of energy, and you need that because it adds to the learning experience. It makes it fun and exciting for the learners who are coming here. Also because they're at an age where they can relate to the people that they're working with. You know, we don't want to hear life lessons from old people, like you don't want your mom and dad telling you who you should date, because that's just not cool apparently. So you know, those are reasons why we like to use young people, and we've always done that.
So the gap year is an opportunity for people to come through and sort of get away from home, gain a little bit of independence, and gain a little bit more knowledge about themselves, you know, develop themselves through the year while developing kids. A big part of that year is leadership, but I mean, you learn so many skills while you're here. You can't just encompass it into one thing, I think.
Well, Instructor is basically the name kind of suggests what they do. They instruct the kids on what they need to do. So basically the chief instructor or whoever's running the course will give them an idea of what theory they're basing their camp on, and then the instructor's job is to reinforce the learning. So the instructor will be there with the kids almost 24/7 and will be reinforcing the ideas of the theory that has been taught, whether it's through a physical activity or a mental exercise. The instructors are there hands-on. On top of that, safety. That's our number one thing, is we want kids to experience new activities. Every activity has a learning theme behind it, but number one is safety. So that will be the first thing instructors are looking at, the first thing I'm looking at.
It's pretty much self-development, and most of it is done through your opportunities that you are given to develop kids on their own. And it's through the everyday activities that we do, the rock climbing and all the adventure activities, the rafting, the go-karting, abseiling. It's the little things and experiences that a lot of kids won't ever get.
For the first 3 days, all I heard was complaints, fake ailments, wanting to see parents. They couldn't stop talking about video games and their cell phones and technology and wanting to be back at home. And that was like the first couple of days. And then the whole time I was like pointing things out in nature, talking to them about certain different things, starting conversations like around the fire. And then like on the third day and the fourth day, they'd completely almost forgotten about technology and about how uncomfortable they thought they were. And they started to realize the beauty of it and why they were there and that they were actually having fun. And that was a really good experience for me, because I felt as though I'd led them to that conclusion almost.
You get to see how far they're willing to push themselves, and you get to really see, I guess, not their true colors, but their willingness, should I say, I think my favorite experience that I've actually had ever with a group was walking down from go-karting, and my entire group just started singing a Disney song, and they're dancing around, and they just was super hyper. And it's really nice to know when you're tired and feeling a bit grumpy. And I think the days where your group, your kids that you're looking after, change your attitude and make you more cheerful. I think those are the best times.
One of the instructor's first and primary roles is to be trained and competent to lead groups of mostly school children through a variety of outdoor activities, with the purpose of using that activity to teach them something about leadership, about teamwork, about personal development. And those are very broad, but without going deeper than that. So that is their main role, and it's a very important role, because they then have the opportunity, but also the responsibility of making sure that happens. That every learner who comes through our centre and comes under their influence and their care walks out positively affected by the experience, and that's a big thing.
We're trying to facilitate an understanding of the concepts that we're trying to teach them here. So we teach them about leadership and teamwork and that sort of thing, and it's pointless for us to sit them down in front of a whiteboard and just lecture them the entire time they're here. They're not going to learn anything. So we've tried to make activities that we can sort of fit those themes into, and teach them through fun activities where they might have to get out of their comfort zone, like rock climbing. But if they're out of their comfort zone, they're more likely to remember the experience and remember the lesson that they were trying to learn anyway. Take abseiling, for example. Abseiling is quite a daunting one, because rock climbing you can at least get as high as you want to. Abseiling, you walking backwards down a rock face, it can be quite daunting, and you don't really have the option once you're about halfway down to say, I don't like this, I don't want to do it anymore. We actually take the challenges that you face before you abseil, during the abseil, and how you're feeling about yourself after the abseil, and we relate them back to real life so that kids can see, this was such a challenge, but afterwards I felt accomplished. And they'll start to realize that in life, challenges are exactly the same. They're going to learn the same thing.
Some learners would actually tell themselves that, okay, I won't do this particular activity, but they really need a person to just talk to them and just encourage them and motivate them and show them a positive side, or rather a positive picture of a particular activity. At the end of the day, they will do it and they'll be proud of themselves.
I think it's a lot easier than we realize to impact a person's life, especially in this environment, because it's different to what they're used to every day. So they're open to the that thing happening to them. And if you consider for a moment that the world we live in is really harsh, it's hard. It's hard to get ahead. It's hard to stay abreast of what's happening. It's hard to compete with all the pressures that are thrown at you to perform at school, to perform on the sports field, to be a nice person, to be good looking enough, to be accepted by your peers and all that sort of thing. So for all of those reasons, a lot of people don't see themselves terribly well. And there'll certainly be aspects of their life where they see themselves as being less than good enough. So our opportunity is there to show them through looking at their character and looking at their capabilities, just how much they have to offer. And everybody has something to offer. I believe that outright. It's true of me, it's true of every single person I've ever worked with. Even if you take the weakest student, if you could call it that we've ever had, they have something to offer. So part of our responsibility is helping them find that, and then helping them notice it. That it's not something that they can ignore any longer, that they realize I've got a strength and I can offer it to other people. And that's what we've got to try and do. So as much as we're trying to train people in good leadership or good teamwork, we're also trying to help them discover what they've got and enhance that through a bit of training to really be able to then be confident enough to go out and offer it.
Kids surprise you, and it's usually when you're not expecting it that they'll surprise you the most, and they'll give you a moment that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. There have been experiences where I've had to go and find teams on copy when it's really dark, and I expect to get to them and they're sitting down and saying, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm going back, what is this rubbish, why do we have to do it anyway? And they'll be sitting down and I'll get to them and be like, gents, what's going on here? And they'll say, no, so we're waiting with this guy, he's got asthma, we want to finish this as a team. Or we're sitting and we're planning because we don't really know where we're going at this point in time, we don't want to mission off and make you guys wait any longer, or something like that. It's the small things, it really is, yeah. Excuse me.
Everyone that I met, I've never knew before. I never got to know before. So it was like starting a whole new friendship, and that friendship became like a family. Like everyone was siblings for one another.
What I was really looking forward to developing were the friendships, because I knew I'd be living here and working with people, but going through training, like you get to know each other really personally and well, and then you know that those are the people you're going to be staying with and working with for the rest of the year, and it's really great.
Starting off, I think everyone just comes in here, it's new people, you're getting to know each other, you're getting to learn what you like and what you don't like about people. And that is, I think, one of the most exciting parts.
You become basically a family. Like, there's no better way to put it. You'll go to the ends of the earth for them and help them out as much as you can.
It's good to see that most people go from, you know, I need to do my thing right, and then by the end of the year it's, you know, you forgot that, let me help you, or you made the mistake but I fixed it, I'm not going to try and get you in trouble, which is good because that's part of the growth experience.
Being one of 3 female instructors has been a very, very great experience. I have found that I've learned a lot from them, and that I would hope that they have learned something from me. It definitely has made it easier to have other female instructors with me, and even if I hadn't, I think, you know, it would still be a great amount of fun. It's just nice to know that sometimes if you need an emotional connection with someone, you've got 2 other people that are there with you that are like, okay, I get you, let's take time.
They taught me so much on how to stand up for myself, on how to speak, and how to be tough. I felt like I've learned so much from them. So that's one thing which I'm gonna miss about them. And yeah, I feel like without them, I wasn't gonna be this person which I am today. So they've played actually a big role in terms of me and this gap year.
I mean, for my year there were 12 of us in my year, and I'm in almost daily contact with about 5 from that year, which I think is pretty good. One of them I'm about to marry, so that's very good. That's definitely a lasting relation. But yeah, I mean, I know of instructors from 2005 who never knew each other before then, and it's 13 years down the line and they are still best friends. And so I do think you make lasting relationships. I think the nice thing about camp is you're forced to.
I feel like I've tried to form a bond with everybody, despite who they are or what we might disagree on. Yeah, and I feel like they've also put the effort in to do that with me, which is nice.
As soon as works off, it's more friendship, more you're able to be more yourself around them because they know everything about you, you know everything about them, so you're super comfortable, like really comfortable.
Like your year was a great year. It was pretty much all instructors were the group. You guys were always all together doing something, and always a lot of noise, a lot of laughter, good fun, good games. But I think what I liked about your particular year was, amongst the laughter and the silliness and everything, there was always still somebody who got something out of it, somebody who learned something or developed in some way, and you guys weren't afraid to show it.
It's fantastic, it really is. We're just like one big family. So obviously, you know, families have fights and that sort of thing, but a lot of the time during work we're trying to make it fun for each other. We'll have a bit of banter here and there, maybe a bit of healthy competition. I especially got very competitive with a couple of instructors, and we were always pushing each other to do better and getting our kids to do better and that sort of thing, and it actually made the experience for us and for the kids a lot more fun. So we have a lot of fun together during work hours and off hours especially as well. We love to sort of come and socialize. We've had 12 people packed into a cabin before. It's a tiny 3x3 space. It's crazy. But I mean, these are the kind of things that only happen at camp. Like, where else would you cram 12 people into this tiny space because you all want to chill together?
You're there. You're with the person when they're having a bad day. You're with them when they're having a good day. And I think living in such a confined space for so long with so many people, you really get to know who they are. The friendships made at camp are friendships that will genuinely last a long time.
So gap year trips are trips that we as Spirit of Adventure offer to instructors. So those will be across the country sort of trips, just things that are different that you might not have thought about experiencing before, or might not have even heard of.
A gap year trip is not something you would get to do on a day-to-day basis. Those are things that when you jump straight into varsity, you might not ever get the chance to do.
The main trips, if I can remember them all, starting with scuba diving, and that's generally an open water 1 PADI certified course. So you're going to Sodwana and you're doing a course where you do the learning, you do the tests, and you do all your open water diving and swimming pool dives so that you're qualified as an open water diver. We're doing rock climbing trip, which is a trip where we teach the instructors more advanced rock climbing techniques, and then we go to Waterfallboven, which is a world-renowned rock climbing site, and we spend a week doing advanced rock climbing where there's a massive variety of climbs and you can push your grades and things like that. We also do a tubing trip down the Sabi River while we're there because it's close by, and that's lots of fun. Next year we're planning to do a whitewater rafting trip, and that's done on the Tugela River. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. We do the Geswani hike as well. That's a little game reserve not far from here. In fact, from where I'm sitting, I can just about see the game reserve on the other side of Rustenburg. We do a 2-night hike there. We also do what we call the prom night. It's effectively like our own little private matric dance or matric dinner sort of thing, where we use a private venue. It's a local hotel who give us a private room with a buffet and so on. Everybody has to dress up smartly for a night. It's interesting to see how people can behave smartly when they dress smartly. We do a camping trip as well, and it's just a normal camping trip, and you camp in a normal campsite, go on game drives and that sort of thing, and it's just the most beautiful, wholesome environments to spend time in. Obviously different trips. I know some guys have been really impacted by the scuba diving. I've done it, and it's just incredible to see all the stuff that's down there. It just opens your eyes to creation that you've never seen before, because you've only ever seen what's above the water and not all the stuff below, and it's absolutely amazing.
The main purpose of them is for experience, not just for the sake of having fun, but to experience different things in life and experience once again with those people, those friends you've made. It's to help strengthen those bonds that instructors have made at work.
Prom night is a really cool one. It's so we go out to a venue, like quite a fancy-ish venue in Rustenburg. I didn't know that there were any the first time I went out there, I must admit. But it's so cool to see the people who you're working with, with their frizzy hair and split ends and sunburn and covered in mud and like grazes and scratches and that sort of thing, and dirty uniforms. Go and take a shower, put a bit of makeup on, straighten their hair a little bit, and then put a suit on. It's crazy. You see a completely different side of people, one that you don't always expect. I remember clearly stepping out of my cabin after I'd put a suit on, and you feel nervous because no one's ever seen you like this before, and then everyone else is kind of standing there nervously, and you kind of get over the nervousness, and then you start taking photos together. It's a different experience, I must admit, because you got to worry that your suit's not getting dirty.
Diving is it's like being in a whole alien world. Like, who needs to go to space when you have this like right here? It is absolutely interesting being able to go now, 34 meters deep, seeing a fish that is almost the size of a Volkswagen Beetle, and you're like, oh, that's massive. Or swimming through a cave, or spotting a shark, or spotting eels. It's a whole nother world, because I don't know how to diving, there's no way to explain it unless you've done it. Diving for me is honestly my favorite trip of them all.
Just being underwater with every person here who also has never really shared this experience as well. You're all able to come up to the top of the surface and realize this is what the ocean really is. And you talk about the things you see, and it's a sense of awe amongst all of us that is incredible. And that isn't just limited to that one trip. You're always interacting with each other. It's not just, I'm going on a trip. It's, I'm going on a trip, building relationships and coming back with hopefully some different skills. So for me, they've been an incredible bonding experience and things that I know I would dream of doing, but never probably would have ever followed through with had I not had the opportunity given to me.
We go to Underberg, a place called Bulwer, and we go to this paragliding school called Wild Skies. And we basically live in this like alpine log cabin. All of us just live in this huge log cabin together for about 5 days, and every day we learn a little bit more about paragliding. Like on the first day, we learn how to set up our gear and equipment and the safeties, and how to unpack our canopy. And then we do a couple like practice runs, and you like practice steering your huge canopy down like this little slope. Later on that day, you go up some actual slopes to do a few short glides, and then like as we get better and better over the days, we get higher and higher up the mountain and glide for longer and longer until we're at about 1,300 feet, and then we're gliding for like 20 minutes. I really enjoyed the experience because I've got a massive fear of heights when I'm on a structure. So if I climb a tree and look down, that's scary. If I'm on Flying Fox and look down, that's scary. I can deal with it. But when I'm suspended, like in an aircraft or under a parachute or something, then no matter what the distance is between me and the ground, I always just feel like elated. And I thought that was fantastic. And when you're up there, like even the birds are flying below you. Usually you look up and they're up there, and we're looking down and they're down there. And we were circling around thermals together. You look right and there's someone gliding to you, and they're over there and they're over there. And then the one day it was pretty windy, so we went skilled enough to go out, but our instructor took out one of his tandem gliders. It's got a bigger wing and you can attach 2 people to it. And he took us out for this wild ride, like he was doing flips and these like tight turns. And he says we were pulling like 2-3 Gs. That's how fast, that's how tight the turns were. Yeah.
You know what? When you get down into that water for the first time, I still remember my first time rolling off the boat. It was just amazing. You get down to see another world that you never even thought of. I mean, everyone watches nature documentaries and that sort of thing where you see the fish swimming around the coral, but to have a fish right up in your face busy checking you out is just another experience. So from that perspective, it was just something unlike anything I'd ever done before.
On our first day of the actual scuba diving, I guess I was excited, really excited, and only to find out that I'm gonna throw up underwater into my mouthpiece. And then the second day, same thing happened. I threw up underwater, but out of my mouth this time around. And then something amazing happened. All the fish just came towards me and ate my vomit. That was so nice. I mean, seeing that happen, it is really cool. I went to some parts, some caves underwater. I would just venture and just go into some places where I don't know, until my partner would actually come in and call me to go back to the other group. But I enjoyed scuba diving.
Honestly, like, what makes them memorable is like, how can I say it? When you go with all the instructors that are going there, you guys have this own little experience. There's that whole experience of going down with everyone. You're not in a working environment anymore. This is now like a little holiday for you guys. And it's now everyone's relaxed and calm, and then the jokes come out, and then everyone's just, it's so basically the people make it more memorable. So the experience is very memorable, but the people you're with make it just make it a whole, should I say.
We'd been working together for quite a while, so it was really nice to get away to do something else, but with the people you've been working with the people you've been forming these bonds with. That was really great. Just that part about getting away and doing these adventures. I didn't have to worry about work or that sort of thing.
The camaraderie and the relationships that it built because of being able to be so close together, it made it such a special trip.
So it affects different people in different ways. Sometimes just the feeling of the freedom of flying over the Drakensberg mountains is just an experience that opens your mind to things that you would never have thought of before. It changes your perspective on the world and the way you view things, and those are things that you won't get elsewhere. You won't get it by going to the mall. You won't get it by staying in a hotel for a week or lying on the beach surrounded by crowds for a week. So I know our trips are very specific and they follow a theme, but the potential for them to impact your life are most definitely there.
We've had people who, throughout the year they've just developed emotionally, almost from being a little boy or little girl when they started, and they've learned who they are a little bit more, and they've just become more confident in their own abilities, and in who they are and what they want to do.
I was hoping to overcome a lot of social anxiety and public speaking issues, I would say. I was very bad at that, get really frozen in crowds, and then this year's really built me up in that sense, which is what I was hoping for, definitely.
Through high school I had an idea of what I wanted to do, I thought animation and game design is where I should go, but everyone kept saying I should be a teacher, and my heart was really set on design and animation. But then I came and worked here, and I was like, this is going to be a real cool experience. I came to see whether I'd actually be a good teacher or not, and I started actually finding a real passion for it.
I did have some expectations. So firstly, when I came here, I wasn't really confident in myself. So it's one of the main reasons that pushed me to come here, because I wanted to work on my self-esteem and my confidence, especially in front of a crowd. So I was really quiet coming here to be in a different environment and just met with some different people from all walks of life. And in terms of interacting with my peers, it was a bit challenging. It was much more easier for them to just interact and talk, and then it was quite hard for me to just adjust to this place and the people. But eventually it worked all well. So I guess if you're just patient, things are going to work well for you.
So for me, when I showed up at camp here, it was a very spontaneous last-minute thing that happened. And part of me was very, very nervous, because now it's something I know it's a whole year commitment. I know it's not at home. That was a bit daunting before I first arrived. But getting here to camp and just seeing this place, I was already taken. Coming into camp, I came in and I knew, you know what, I'm just going to come here. I'm just going to be me. In high school, I was very much a person who was very to myself, very anxious, very nervous, and suffering with a bit of depression. And I came to camp, and within 3 months, I myself had seen this change where I was just out there. I was being me. Maybe a bit irritating, but that's just because I have this very active personality. And I started to embrace my personality even more, even though people would get irritated by it. And I don't think I had this whole mindset of what I wanted to really get out of the year, because I came in just knowing that I wanted to just be me.
I think one of the biggest things that I think instructors often appreciate or get out of it is just the space and the freedom sometimes to be away from parents for a little while, to think and process and deal with stuff at their own speed, not with the pressure of school or the pressure of having to apply to go to university, or mom and dad telling me you need to get this done, or what are you going to do with the rest of your life. Sometimes they just need that space. And being out here, being away on those trips on hikes in wilderness areas, being at the bottom of the ocean, those sort of pressures mean nothing when you're down there. And it just opens your mind to a new way of thinking and new paths or thought patterns and things like that.
You're able to push yourself a lot further than what you think you can. I've figured out already what I want to study. I figured out already what my plans are for life. It's helped me find my way, like the path I want to take in life, should I say.
My own personal development in terms of being more confident, being able to speak to anybody, to speak to a whole bunch of people, that sort of thing. So I came with a lot of expectations of growth, and I really have grown. Like halfway through the year, towards the end of the year, I started seeing a change in how I deal with people, how I deal with situations, because of the things that I've learned through working with people and through teaching people the things to do with leadership. I've actually learned more about it myself.
I'm glad I actually came here. Actually, I have been here like in camp. I came here in grade 11, but I didn't pay much attention to the lectures and all that. Now that I know what I missed, I'm glad I came here again.
What I expected to get out of it was a lot less than I actually gained from it. I wasn't expecting this amazing experience where it would change me completely from the inside out. I was expecting, it'll teach me a couple of skills and then I can move off and just keep going. But what it's actually done is it's completely changed my mindset on a lot of things. It's changed my way of dealing with things. It's changed my perspective on certain topics. It's changed my the way that I deal with people, the way that I deal with different types of people. And then obviously, the theories that we teach at camp, you start to get those ingrained into you. You start using them more. You apply them into daily life without actually realizing you're doing it. It's all subconscious. Even if you're not following the entire process step by step, there's still certain areas where you follow through with that. Yeah.
I know that the instructors benefit from the teaching that they do, and the reason I know that is because I've had instructors come to me in years after, is where they've said, I realize that I'm ahead of my peers in my office because I have skills and I have almost like an ethos that I didn't have before, and they've said to me, I learned it at camp. You taught us that work ethic as our boss, as our manager, and we taught it to children, and it just became part of who I am. And that's how I do things in the office. I have a good work ethic. I put in proper effort. And so it's been wonderful for me to get those sort of bits and pieces of feedback from guys who said, this made a big difference in my life. So I know that it works. Obviously, it's different for different individuals. Some guys will get more out of it. Some guys will get less out of it. That depends on your character and what you want to get. But I know the opportunity is there to gain a lot from your experience and your time here.
Watching the kids do the activities and watching the kids put into practice what you've been teaching them and how you've been developing in them and that sort of thing. It's a really cool feeling to feel accomplished at the end of a camp because you've succeeded in making a team better than they were before. And I think they're definitely going to miss that feeling. There's not much else that you can feel that accomplished for.
Obviously, I'm hoping that they will get better and grow that confidence and things like that, because it means that they'll be able to do the work and the job a lot better, that the average learner who comes through will benefit that much more from them. There's other things that I hope that they will get, which are often this sort of stuff I see that growth and development in them, but there's other stuff that hopefully will happen, and those are things like, remember that a lot of them are taking a gap year or taking a leadership year, taking their time off to make decisions about life, and I really hope that happens for them.
I think since school, it's definitely been like the most important step towards my adult life. Before this year, I really didn't like studying. I didn't want to learn. I didn't make the right decisions in school, but this year I've started developing a thirst for knowledge. I've started wanting to study certain things. I've started to realize if I did study, what I would study. Like before, I could never see myself doing that. So I guess I've grown in that way.
For me, being here has been a time of growth and a time of learning. I've definitely learnt more here in the few years I've been here than I did in most of my schooling years. But then also just the constantly being able to be here with your mates, be here with your friends. You know, they're just a 2-minute walk away and there you are with your friends. And you know, when you leave here, everyone's back to their own lives. And we're not all on the same page, not all doing the same job. So I think I'm going to miss the friendship and the mentorship from Oliver. He's definitely a very wise man. So, and I've learnt a huge amount from him. So I think that's one of the biggest things I'm going to miss is his input in my life.
Oh, miss the most. Definitely the place. That is one thing it's an incredible place to wake up to every morning. And this place has become home. From the first 3 months that I was here, this was home. It's interesting because it tells you a lot about what a place can do for you. And I fall in love with this place. I don't want to leave now that the year is done again, but it's going to have to happen. But I know that I will be able to vividly remember every aspect of this camp. I will remember the back side of the koppie, the little branches in the trees and how they hang, and I'll remember the dam when it's full, when it's rushing, when it's flat, when it's not. You remember all the things you see here, and it's that's definitely one aspect that I am going to miss, is the place in itself.
Oh, what am I going to miss the most? Honestly, the stars. Like the stars over here are absolutely beautiful. Work-wise, the people, the bantering, Oliver. I'm going to miss Oliver, I'm not going to lie. Him and his dad jokes. And just the whole experience, actually. Like, it's a very unique experience and you're going to miss it.
What it's done for me, my parents moving away and that sort of thing, really just how Oliver's been and how the camp has been, this genuinely is my home now. So obviously when my parents left, I went and I spoke to Oliver and I said, listen, I don't really have a home to go back to anymore. You know, could I live here permanently? And he said, yeah, as long as you're working here, you know, there's no problem with that. That's been the deal forever. He's just been so helpful with the whole situation and made me feel at ease moving here and helped me move stuff from Joburg to here. Like he missioned my bed through here on the bakkie because I couldn't get it here.
Oliver, like, he is the boss man, but he could be considered a lot of things. Some people have a nickname for him, Dad, because he is quite like a dad figure. He's not like a boss tells you when you're wrong and that you should be right. Oliver kind of guides you and shows you how to be right. And he's always got a joke up his sleeve. He's always got a way to ease a situation that doesn't make anyone feel bad. And if I do screw up or mess up, then I shouldn't try and I shouldn't be worried that he's gonna know. I should bring it up with him because he's gonna help me through it. He's not gonna reprimand me that much for screwing up, but he's also gonna guide me in a way that's gonna grow me.
Oliver is honestly one of the best bosses you could have. He's very understanding. The best way we can put him is he's strict but fair. Like, he definitely knows when the time and the place is to mess around and joke and times to work. He's literally a kid in an adult's body.
He has done a lot for the people that have come in here. You've seen where there have been influences from him on the people that he has brought into this camp. He has taught me a lot and how to deal with different situations and circumstances. He's taught me not to be so hard on myself as well, and honestly I know that Oliver wants the best for every person that's here, and he will go out of his way to teach you. It might not be in the way you think, but it will definitely teach you somehow, and you will look back and think, oh, okay, I understand now.
He's strict in such a way that he wants everything to be perfect, everything to be just good, and he needs us to participate in this perfection which he's willing to achieve. But he's doing that to achieve something good.
Oliver is one of the best bosses you could ever ask for. He is pretty much whatever you need him to be in any situation. He will be a mentor, he will be a comforter, he will be a teacher, he'll be a friend, someone that you can joke around with. His dad jokes are on point. He's really just one of the most amazing, faithful human beings I've ever met. And he's so passionate about life. Like he doesn't do anything half-heartedly. There is no half-hearted with Oliver. It's everything is given 100% of the time. He's strict, but he's fair. So he's not going to let you walk all over him, but at the same time he understands if you do something wrong and you have a valid reason for it. Yeah, he's just an amazing guy.
You know, it's like having 10 kids, 10 new kids every year. I've got my own 3 kids, but having these 10 kids, and you know, I'm not allowed to discipline them because they're not really mine. Sometimes I really want to discipline them, like you don't understand. So it's tough, it's a challenge, but that's because I've taken on the responsibility of caring about them. And I say to them every now and then, I don't know if they believe me or not, I actually do care about them, and I want the best for them. I hope that they get the best.
What is the spirit of adventure? I think the spirit of adventure is seeing the magic in everything around you, seeing what is real and what more it can be, taking the opportunities to venture out and figure out what it is that you see and what it is that you believe, and just enjoying every moment of it.
The spirit of adventure is literally being able to live. Those are the moments that you live for. You live in the now, not in the future. That's the best way I can say it. That's the whole point.
The spirit of adventure is almost like an instinctive, natural urge to want to get off your butt and do something awesome.
For me, the spirit of adventure is being willing to experience new things and being open to new ideas and just helping others experience new things and not just about me.
The spirit of adventure for me is getting out of your comfort zone and not even doing something different, just trying something different. You don't always have to run into it sort of, if I can say, gung-ho, guns blazing for it to be adventurous. If you tentatively try something new, something small even, that you are not used to, that is out of your comfort zone, that to me is the spirit of adventure.
The spirit of adventure. How am I going to say this? I mean, I cannot say this in words, honestly.
Wow, the spirit of adventure for me is a lot of different things. It's my business. I mean, that would be the first and most obvious answer. It is my livelihood. It's what I do every day. This is where I come to and this is what I do. But it's also, it's a bit of a mission, if I can call it that. I'm trying to get something done here. And, you know, I've been doing it for long enough that it's not always a challenge and it's not always exciting for me anymore. But I still believe in it because I'm still on a mission. And that mission is to affect people's lives in the right ways, in the most positive ways. I'm really hoping for the character development, and that's really important to me. I've realized over the years that working with schools, the schools that come through here, they pay the bills. You know, that's how the business runs, and our work there is really important, but our work with the instructors who come through is equally important, if not even more so. They're here for a year, so we have the opportunity to hopefully impart value to their lives over a 12-month period. So I put a lot of time and energy into thinking about them and watching them and talking to them and seeing what I can, what I can say to them to help them not just become better at the job that they do here, and I know that they learn from that, but their character, the way they address the world around them through their responses and their attitudes and things like that, and however else we can add value to them, that means a lot to me. And it's incredibly frustrating at times because they don't always respond as I would like them to respond. Some individuals are fantastic because they really grow and they're open to those opportunities. Others, you've got to work a little bit harder. You've got to sort of hammer and chisel, chip away the toughness to get there. But it's worthwhile in the end, especially when I get those old guys coming back saying, you know what, thank you for being hard on me. Thank you for pushing me a little bit. It worked.